Council public hearing on Monday, April 19th, 2021. This is for a proposed addition to the code of the town of Rocky Hill for an ordinance titled Chapter 24, Commission on Inclusion and Innovation. And I have to say, I'm really excited. We have a number of members from the public signed up. So I'm just going to give you some very brief instructions that this portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public, who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov or telephone 860-258-7682 to request an invite. You will be provided with a link or a telephone number to attend the Zoom remote meeting and instructions on how you will participate. So I have the list of participants and I'm going to call you. I'm going to ask again that you limit your comments as best as possible to 2 minutes so that everyone has an opportunity to speak. And that when I call you, that you kindly restate your name for the record as well as your address, please. And we will begin with Rebecca Markowitz. Going to give her a second.
Mic issues.
We are.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Markowitz. I live at 4 Butternut Lane, Rocky Hill, Connecticut. I'm actually a sophomore at Rocky Hill High School, and I came on the meeting today because I really want to talk about how we can use this program to help the youth in our town be more aware and just have great conversations with kids in high school. Because I think if we start having these conversations, not only with adults in our town, but with students and kids in our town, starting from elementary school or middle school and even high school, just having these conversations with kids, having them be more aware, I think it'll just foster a great environment for a lot of people. I think it would improve a lot of things in life for them in general. And I think it's something important we need to have, right? You know, to have those conversations with students. So yeah, I was very excited to come here because I really when I first heard about this program, I thought it was such a great idea and something that every town needs, you know, to be able to have these great conversations about these really important topics. So I just think if we can get it to the youth of Rocky Hill, that will be the biggest accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Markowitz. We're going to move on to Paula Tochiva. And I didn't say that right, so you probably don't even know I'm calling you.
Madam Mayor, I don't think she's connected to the meeting.
Okay, we can always circle back if you're listening and you're trying to get in. I'm going to move on to Reverend Nada Sellers. Reverend.
Also not present.
Okay, Reverend, if you hear us and you're trying to log in, we can circle back if we see you. Moving on, Donna Antonucci. I see the name.
Well, thank you very much, Becca. It's exciting to see you. My name is Donna Antonucci. I live at 28 Webster Lane. This isn't my garden. I attend Rocky Hill Congregational Church here in the center of town. I'm also a member of the League of Women Voters and a proud parent of a Rocky Hill High School sophomore. So when I heard about this meeting tonight through Tom and also through Brian Donahoe, I was excited to come and listen and learn and be informed. I've gotten to know a lot about Rocky Hill since I've moved here, but also working on various volunteer groups and working through our church organization. I think Rocky Hill needs to be committed to being more inclusive, and this is going to be a great first step. So the more folks that we can bring in, whether it's different points of view, political points of view, or religious, or social and cultural and political and geographic, the more we can do to be inclusive will only help us in the long run and keep our town as vibrant as we are excited to have it be. So I thank you for this opportunity to listen and learn.
Thank you, Ms. Antonucci. Moving on to Tony Palazzolo.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I must have been muted. First of all, I'd like to thank you for bringing this forth. I'd like to start out by saying I'd like to thank the Rare Reminder and Mark DePaolo for providing an article on your proposed ordinance 24 on diversity and inclusion. However, after reading the article, I had several questions. What is the purpose of this ordinance? Is it, as Christoph said, to get new voices into conversation? Is it to provide an umbrella for the town to say we value all people? Or is it a precursor for structuring our town so we have a vehicle to deal with issues that have or occasionally may come forth? I believe it was back in the 90s, we were told that all the children who were born in that year had tipped the stats. The white population had just become the minority. You would never know this from today's media reports. Now for questions. I find it polar opposite to propose civic engagement through an ordinance. You can't mandate what people choose to do, their body language or attitudes, but we can provide opportunities for them to participate in the community. I would encourage you to include some funding for the opening of the center and to hit the floor running, particularly as we let up with COVID restrictions. Isn't it time that we meet the members of our community and give Rocky Hill an identity for 2021? We need to make a decision as to where, as we are at the crossroads of it becoming the ring of a metropolitan area versus maintaining our town and to keep the attributes of Rocky Hill. Why are we structuring this along party lines? What about the independent people if inclusion is one of the goals of the ordinance? I would think that you would want the freedom to select the best candidates and not be limited by parties. In this article, there was a discussion about the continuance of the committee. Since topics that may come before this committee could be sensitive in nature, thus I question having other credentials in place beyond political affiliation. In some cases, there could be legal or disciplinary brought into the situations. Will the public appointees have the background to deal with these areas? Will they be protected since they are acting on behalf of the town and yet not directly employed by the town, but appointed? Will you be able to guarantee that all cases are in the realm of the council and not in a committee of lay people? There are finite lines for issues that are matters before courts versus the public. Look at what is going on in today's society. But we can all work to build community that we want to have. An ordinance can be a vehicle to state and lead directions for our community. You mentioned in your notes of 3/15/21 council meeting that you wanted to address specific programs to explore the issues of inclusion, diversity, and accessibility. My question is, for this area is who's going to teach and what are they going to teach? I am unimpressed by what is happening in society today. I think if we took opinions of everybody who's sitting here, we'd all have different opinions. Some would be happy, some wouldn't be happy. However, I do see opportunities coming with the advent of the new community senior center. It is the perfect location to facilitate innovative community education. This will be a chance to establish our new center as the center. People have the freedom to explore and learn from each other. Those in authority have to provide the opportunities to do this. You cannot mandate a timeline for individual growth. We have built in agencies in our system, Parks and Rec, Human Services, the Library, and the Board of Ed, who can introduce cultures, customs, language, music, and foods for our groups. People will come out for food samples and other things. As interactions and comforts come, people will feel valued and accepted. They need to be in charge of their own decisions. You cannot rush readiness, and that is an educational principle. Finally, I would like to request that a form which was started at the task force before COVID be completed and be in place for all the participants of a new center. This will be another step to have this instrument in place for the opening of our new center. Finally, we should treat people the way we would want to be treated. Thank you very much. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Antonia Palazzolo, George Road, Rocky Hill. Now I'll be quiet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Palazzolo. Moving on to Lori Bosky.
Hi there. Thank you so much. I'm really excited about the proposed ordinance. And I did read, I have it here in front of me from the Rare Reminder and highlighted my parts. And And I am excited about the purpose, to model best practices, to have those difficult conversations. But I do have a couple of concerns. One, as I agree with Tony about the membership. If it's going to model inclusiveness and cooperation, I don't see having a minority leader, 2 and 3 members, only 5 members. Granted, you don't want a huge committee, but my suggestion is 2 members from each party and then 2 from the independents. That's 6 people. I don't think we need to have an odd number because it's an advisory council. It's not going to be making major, decisions that these have to go to the council as well. I do agree with the staggered terms, and having alternates I think is wonderful as well. But if we're going to talk about being equitable and inclusive, I am concerned about the suggestion for 5 members and having it by party line. And also, I'm also a little concerned because it is on the agenda for the council tonight. And I don't know if it's that for an action item. And my concern of that is that it almost presents as an assumption that it's going to be passed as is, and that is a concern of mine. So I just would ask that you consider the membership a little bit more to make it more inclusive and more equitable. And I thank you for your time. And I'm 18 Highland Street.
Thank you, Ms. Brodsky. And finally, our last member is of the community, Mr. Tom Cosker.
Hello, Tom Cosker, 52 Tall Pines Lane here in Rocky Hill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and give public comment. This is kind of a commission and an idea that's kind of really near and dear to my heart, something that I've been advocating for quite some time. As a parent of 2 teenage children in Rocky Hill, one of whom has disabilities, I've been very involved in the disability community here in Rocky Hill, mainly at the special education level. As my child has gone up through the schools, been very involved with organizing parent groups in Rocky Hill and promoting inclusion of people with disabilities in schools. And though we do a really wonderful job in Rocky Hill in many ways, there's always room for improvement and having conversations. And it's great to see Rebecca here on the call, a 10th grader, and Doretta, nice to see you as well. It's great to have those conversations. And I think those conversations, for me, to broaden them beyond the education system and out to the full community regarding employment and community living. And there's so many aspects of life in Rocky Hill. It's a wonderful place to live. I love it here and plan to stay for a long time and want my son to stay here for a long time and be involved in the community as much as possible. So again, I come at it from the disability perspective because that's my world. I'm a disability advocate and parent of a child with a disability. However, having seen this commission and develop, again, it's something I've been talking about for a number of years, actually, and to see it develop and now broaden out to include members of different, racial and ethnic groups and religious groups, I think is a wonderful idea. I think there's a number of marginalized communities and marginalized peoples throughout our world and our communities. And I think this is a great opportunity. I look forward to this commission in whatever form it is, moving forward. And I appreciate the opportunity to comment. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cosker. And John Murphy, did any of our people circle back? I don't see their names.
That's correct. No one else, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor, I thought Alan Tan made it to public hearing. He is at the top of the screen.
I do see him. Okay, we will move on to Mr. Tan.
I'd like to see his picture.
Madam Mayor, members of the Town Council, thank you. I'm Alan Tan. I'm a resident of 10 Mark Lane in Rocky Hill, and I'm also a very lifelong resident of Rocky Hill. Some of you may know my parents, my mother teaches piano in Town Hall for the Parks and Recreation. So I'm here today. I'm also, excuse me, I just had dinner. I'm also the co-chairman of the State of Connecticut's Commission on Women, Children, Seniors, Equity, and Opportunity, which is very similar to the ordinance that this town is interested in passing. And in my personal capacity as a resident of Rocky Hill, I just want to express that I am very excited that this town has chosen to put together a commission on inclusion. And I do think that it is a step in the right direction. and it will have every opportunity to be successful here. I also wanted to offer, in my personal capacity, anything that I could do to help improve the commission's enabling legislation, or any thing that I can do to assist the counselors of any questions or issues that they'd like to address. And with the experience of having to manage 44 commissioners, I do understand some of the concerns that some other members of the public have mentioned tonight. Now, I will also note this, we cannot let the perfect be the enemy of the common good. It's going to take a community effort to create opportunities to connect with other members of our community, especially those that may not feel like they're heard every day. Personally, I am of Asian American descent. Even though I was born and raised in Rocky Hill, my parents immigrated to the United States from Malaysia. And I'm also somebody who has a disability. So I have a transient disability. So some days you may see me walking, and some days I'm driving around on a wheelchair. So I can understand from many points of view that there are many different ways people see things. And again, like I said, I will do whatever I can to help make this success in Rocky Hill. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Tian. Okay, I believe then that will conclude our public hearing. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing tonight.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. See you at 7.
See you.
Effort council. I don't know if that Zoom link is going to work for that. We'll see.